Yeet. Every morning, roughly 2 billion cups of coffee are prepared around the world. That number is almost impossible to picture. But behind each one sits a chain of decisions, labor, soil, logistics, and price pressure so vast and so hidden that the drink in your hand barely hints at the system that delivered it. Coffee begins as a fruit. The coffea plant produces small cherries, and inside each cherry are the seeds we eventually call beans. Those seeds are separated from the fruit pulp, dried or washed, and shipped green and unroasted across oceans. Only after they arrive at their destination are they roasted, ground, and finally brewed. That sequence, fruit to cherry to green bean to roasted bean to cup, crosses multiple countries, multiple climates, and multiple industries before it reaches you. Most people who drink coffee every day have never seen a single step of that process. The plant itself has a history tied to the region around the Red Sea. Coffee's origins are linked to Ethiopia, where the coffea plant grows wild, and to Yemen, where early cultivation and trade gave coffee its first commercial identity. From there, it spread outward through trade routes, reaching the Arabian Peninsula, then the Ottoman world, then Europe, and eventually every corner of the globe. That spread was not accidental. Coffee carried something people wanted badly enough to build entire trading systems around it: caffeine and the alertness it produces. But here is the contradiction that sits at the center of this story. Coffee is grown almost exclusively in a band of tropical and subtropical countries, places like Ethiopia, Brazil, Colombia, Vietnam, and Indonesia. Yet it is consumed most heavily in wealthy, temperate nations that cannot grow it at all. The people who produce it and the people who profit most from it are rarely the same people. That geographic and economic split is not a side effect of the coffee industry. It is the industry's foundational structure. To understand how that structure formed, you have to follow the bean through the system. Green coffee beans are one of the most widely traded agricultural commodities on Earth. They are bought and sold on global markets, where prices are set not at the farm, but by traders, futures contracts, and the forces of supply and demand operating thousands of miles from any actual coffee plant. A farmer in a highland region of Ethiopia or a smallholder in Central America grows the crop, bears the weather risk and the labor cost, and then sells into a market where the price was determined before harvest by people who have never touched the soil. The roasting step is where the familiar product finally takes shape. Roasting transforms green beans through heat, driving chemical reactions that develop the color, aroma, and flavor that define each coffee's character. The roasted beans are then ground into fine particles and brewed by forcing hot water through or over them, extracting soluble compounds from the ground material. That brewing step is the final one in a chain that began in a field, passed through a processing facility, crossed a shipping lane, entered a roasting plant, and arrived in a bag or a capsule or a supermarket shelf. Each handoff in that chain involves a margin. Each margin is negotiated by the party with more leverage. The scale of the roasting and retail end of this system dwarfs the farming end. Large coffee companies operate global supply chains, brand identities, and distribution networks that give them enormous influence over what coffee costs and how it is perceived. The farmers growing the raw material operate at the other extreme: small plots, weather dependency, price volatility, and limited access to the market intelligence that would let them negotiate differently. That asymmetry is not a recent development. It was embedded in the commodity structure from the moment coffee became a globally traded product. There are genuine efforts to change the terms of that relationship. Certification programs and direct trade models attempt to shift more value back toward the farmers who grow the crop. Some buyers pay premiums for traceability, quality, and ethical sourcing standards. Whether those efforts reach the majority of the world's coffee growers is a genuinely contested question. The supply chain is long, verification is difficult, and the premium market represents a fraction of total global coffee consumption. Progress is real in pockets. Whether it is structural is unresolved. The other pressure the system faces is ecological. Coffee plants are sensitive to temperature, rainfall, and altitude. The climate conditions that produce the best quality beans are specific and fragile, As global temperatures shift, the geographic zones where high-quality Arabica coffee can be grown are changing. Some regions are losing suitability. Others may become viable that were not before. The long-term map of where coffee can be grown is not the same map that existed when the current supply chain was built, and the industry is only beginning to reckon with what that means for sourcing, pricing, and the farmers whose livelihoods depend on those conditions remaining stable. There is also a version of this story told from the consumer side that is easy to overlook. Coffee is one of the most customized mass-market products in existence. It can be brewed as a dense espresso, a filtered pour-over, a milky latte, an iced cold brew, or a shelf-stable canned drink. Sugar, milk, cream, and flavorings are routinely added. The base ingredient, roasted, ground coffea seeds, is the same in all of them. The variation is in the preparation, the presentation, and the price. A single origin pour-over served in a specialty cafe and an instant coffee stirred into a mug in a gas station kitchen start from the same biological material, moving through the same basic commodity system. The distance between them is almost entirely a product of branding, labor, and positioning. What the coffee system reveals, when you follow it from the tree to the cup, is a recurring pattern in global food. The value accumulates at the end closest to the consumer. The risk accumulates at the end closest to the farm, and the distance between those two ends is filled with infrastructure, logistics, and financial instruments that most people who enjoy the final product never see and never need to think about. That invisibility is not incidental. It is part of what makes the system work as smoothly as it does for the people inside it who hold the most leverage. Coffee's history is tied to the Red Sea. Its present is tied to global commodity markets, shipping containers, roasting facilities, and retail margins. Its future is tied to the question of whether the climate zones it depends on will still be viable, and whether the farmers growing it inside those zones will still be able to afford to. The cup is familiar. The machine behind it is anything but. The next time you consider where your coffee comes from, the more accurate question might be, how many hands, how many margins, and how many miles of supply chain were required before it became something simple enough to hold in one hand? Visual reconstructions are illustrative. Facts and interpretations are based on the sources listed in the description.